My junior year, I had missed every holiday up from Halloween to prom. Every event with my friends or every event that maybe I could have socialized at or have fun or been a teenager at, I had to give up for volleyball. I would lift 3, 4, 5 times a week and I'm in the gym every day. When I got Gatorade National Player of the Year, I remember receiving it and saying that I'm in shock. I was like, I don't deserve this. Like just all these thoughts rolling through my head. I've had so many ups and downs and I've been cut from teams. I've been pushed off to the side. I haven't been played. Looking back on it, like after getting cut the year prior and then making the roster of the U19 national team and representing USA, having that flag on your chest, it was the most exhilarating experience of my life. Find the small successes because those small successes will turn into big successes.
Welcome to the Winners Club podcast. I'm your host, Bryce Wilson, and today I'm here with D1 volleyball player for the University of Texas, Ayden Ames. Ayden, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So we're going to get into your mindset and also what it's like being a D1 athlete. First, I want to hear about your journey to become a D1 athlete. So let's start from the beginning. What are your first memories of volleyball?
My first memories of volleyball, I actually hated it, which is so funny because I feel like nobody ever really starts out like that. I was a huge soccer player and my mom was a volleyball coach. So I always kind of grew up in the gym, but since I was in the gym so much, like I just hated the sport. I was like, I've had enough. I'm not gonna do any more volleyball. But when I was 12 years old, I was in 6th grade, my mom wanted me to just join my first team. She was like, I want you to try it out, see how it goes. She's like, if you don't like it, you don't have to play it. So I was like, okay. And I ended up just absolutely falling in love with it. And I think after like my first couple of years, I think I found a talent within me that I hadn't found in any other sport before. And I just grew to love it so much more.
What was the switch? Just one practice when you're 12 years old?
Oh, no, not at all. I was actually a little baby giraffe when I was 12 years old.
Okay.
Like I had arms and legs going everywhere. I did not know how to control my super tall, lanky body. And it took a couple of years.
So going from not liking volleyball at all to becoming #1 ranked in the state. So how did you get to that point? Was it all talent or what do you think it was?
Oh my God, it was not all talent. I've had so many ups and downs and, you know, I've been cut from teams. I've been pushed off to the side. I haven't been played. And it takes a lot, I would say, of your mental game to figure it out. And there's going to be a lot of people out there that I would say that would push you down and say like, hey, like you don't deserve this ranking. You don't deserve to be up here. You don't deserve to be in the top 1, 2, or 3. And it takes a confidence like within yourself to realize that, hey, I deserve that. I deserve that ranking, and you have to find it within yourself. And I think that's what really kind of kept me up there is because after, I would say maybe some criticism, I think I still believed in myself at the end of the day, and it did affect my confidence a little bit, but I still had people around me. I had a close group of people. I had my family. I had some teammates. I had some select coaches that really trusted in me, and they solidified like the fact that maybe I should have been at the top. So.
Yeah, I didn't know you got cut. I thought you were just the best at all the time. So
no, so I was invited to the U19 national team a couple summers ago in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was my first time being on a USA national team, and we had a tryout. We had 5 middles, and they only were taking 3 on the travel trip, and I was not a part of the travel middles, and that was the first time I had ever gotten cut from a team or been told that I wasn't good enough. And that was a huge kick in the butt because in the back of my mind, I knew that I could have prepared for that better. And I knew that during the entire tryout that I could have believed in myself more. And that was the one thing that the coach told me when I got cut was that you could have made the team if you believed that you could have made the team.
So that pushed you to work harder because after that, you went from being #1 ranked in the state to #1 ranked in the nation, winning Gatorade National Player of the Year, becoming the best player in high school in the nation. So how does that feel?
It feels amazing. I mean, still sometimes when I got Gatorade National Player of the Year, I remember receiving it and saying that I'm in shock. I was like, I don't deserve this. Like just all these thoughts rolling through my head. And again, like my family was like, no, you deserve this. Like it takes so much to really like believe like, hey, maybe you can be the best of everyone. And that's kind of always my goal is to just like, I'm always reaching for the next thing. What's the biggest possible step that I can reach in my career, or what's the highest level I can reach? And I'm just very grateful for everything that I've accomplished and everything that people see in me. And it's an amazing feeling.
And being the best in the nation is not just talent. So tell us, like, what'd you do outside of the normal high school and club practices? And don't be humble. Like, let us know. We want to know the secret. How to be the best in the nation.
So I would say, like, takes so much sacrifice. It takes more sacrifice than you have ever known. My junior year, I had missed every holiday up from Halloween to prom. I had missed every single holiday. I had missed Halloween. I had missed homecoming. I had missed New Year's. I had missed prom. I had missed everything, every event with my friends or every event with people in my area that maybe I could have socialized at or have fun or been a teenager at. I had to give up for volleyball. I was in the gym. I was training. I always lift in the morning, so I always like to get my lift out in the morning. So I work with a trainer in Prosper, and I would lift 3, 4, 5 times a week, and I'm in the gym every day, and I had to work on my nutrition. I would say my nutrition wasn't always the best, but you know, you get stuck, like in high school, you get stuck in these long 5-set matches, and especially in NCAA, we're going to get really worked. It's going to be 13-13 in the 5th set, and we're going to be against Wisconsin, and I need to know how to withstand it, especially being like an 18-year-old freshman right now. So it's taken a lot of my mental game, and it's taken a lot of my physical game, and it's taken a lot of sacrifice.
And well, it all paid off because you also made the 2023 U19 national team and helped USA win the World Championship. So how was that experience?
That experience was absolutely amazing. It was the most exhilarating experience of my life. I made some of my best friends on the team, and traveling to Croatia and representing USA, having that flag on your chest is one of the best feelings. And it just makes me think about, wow, I could be in the Olympics one day. I could represent USA on the biggest stage possible. But to be able to represent it on the U19 stage was once in a lifetime experience. Like just experiencing a new culture and a new style of volleyball and new coaches. And I had stepped up my game so much just within 2 or 3 weeks of training with USA Volleyball. And I will never forget that experience.
What did you learn from playing with the best players in the nation and against the best players in the world?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I learned so much. Again, I would say I learned a lot about confidence, and I learned that, hey, like I taught myself and I told myself that, hey, maybe you do deserve to be here. And that was a huge part of it. But I learned so much about reading the game, my IQ, my volleyball IQ, just all of that stuff that just all plays in together.
And of course, after doing all that, you get a lot of college recruitments. So you actually initially committed to Nebraska and then decommitted. So what made you make that decision? And you don't have to get into the details. You don't have to throw shade on Nebraska and everything like that, unless you want to. But
I'm not going to throw shade on Nebraska.
Okay. But like, what made you go make that decision? What gave you the courage to do that too?
Yeah, it took a lot of courage. I mean, when I initially committed to Nebraska, it was the perfect decision for me at the time. I don't regret anything. But I think as time went on and as my priorities changed, what I wanted in a school, I had to think about myself. And I couldn't think about my 16-year-old self anymore. I had to think about my 18-year-old self. And right before signing day, I was like, maybe this just doesn't feel right. So after decommitting and taking my visit to Texas and just exploring my other options, I was like, Texas feels so much like home. It's just closer to home. I get to represent my own state, my hometown state. It feels so much better because I have so many people from Texas that, are Texas fans, or maybe they're Texas haters because they're OU fans. And it's so fun to be involved with that. Stepping on the Texas campus for the first time and really getting to know the coaches and really seeing everything that they had to offer just really opened my eyes to so much. And after being there for a semester, I absolutely love it.
Okay, that's great.
I love it.
Yeah. So on top of all this, you found the time somehow to graduate a semester early and go to UT early a semester. So how'd you do that?
I had to take online classes.
Okay.
I had to take some during the summer. I had to take some. I had to pile up a lot my first semester of my senior year in high school. So I was going a full schedule plus online classes because it was a little bit later of a decision than I wanted it to be. But it wasn't too bad. I had a couple classes I had to take and just pile on some more, and it's totally worth it.
Yeah.
I would do it all over again.
Yes. Why did you want to graduate a semester early?
I wanted to graduate a semester early so I could get in the gym and I could really get to know the players, I could get to know the style, and I could really get acclimated before I step out on the court for the first time. Yeah. I feel like I already know so much more than I wouldn't have known if I didn't graduate early, and I'm just so grateful for it.
It's elite mindset, but yes, we can talk about UT. So you've been there for a full semester. I was a college athlete, and the first semester for me was the hardest part. So how was the first semester?
The first semester for me, the first couple months, one of the hardest adjustments I've ever had to make. You're getting used to not only a new team and new coaches and new volleyball, but an entire new life. And I was learning how to live on my own, and I was learning how to do things on my own and think for myself, and just things that more mature and adult things that I hadn't done before. And it was a huge switch, but I had joined some like organizations on campus, and I kind of reached out, and just the people on campus and stuff have made it feel so much like home.
That's good. And UT is a great school. They've won 2 national championships, trying to go for the 3rd now that you're on there.
Yes.
And they have great players like Madison Skinner, who I interviewed last year, so y'all can check that out, who went on to become like the best player in the NCAA and the nation, something like that. So what'd you learn from just being on the best team in the nation?
I have already learned so much. I have learned so much about my game, and I've learned about other girls' games, and it's so refreshing being on a team with girls who have the same mindset as me. And I'm like, we are all here working for the same thing, and we are all willing to do whatever we need to do to get that. And we're not thinking about, of course, everyone comes up to us and says, back to back to back, three-peat, but we're taking it one step at a time. And we're not looking too far in the future, because we have a lot of things to focus on. We have some girls to replace. We have a new team to work with. And I think I'm a part of that equation. Nice. So I'm learning how to work with a new team. And so we're all putting our heads together and really trying to like think about something bigger.
So that was a bit about your story. So now we can get into your mindset. So first off, are there any practices you do to take care of your mental health? Like, how do you deal with the highs and lows of your sport?
Yeah, so there have been so many highs and so many lows that I've had to deal with. But I got into a really deep low one time, and it was really hard to get out. You know, I was in a slump. I wasn't hitting. My technique was off. I just felt like I was the worst player that I'd ever been. I was like, what am I doing this for? And it takes a lot to get out of it. And sometimes it doesn't just take a game. Sometimes you can get down in a game, and it's really hard to get back up. And like after you take that nosedive, it's really hard to just convince yourself, no matter how much you believe it, that, hey, you are okay. You are a good player. You deserve to be where you are right now. It took some time, but after convincing, and I had my family like surrounding me, giving me the most love and support, and really telling me and making me believe that I am a good player, I am confident, like I'm strong, and all of this stuff. And if you tell yourself that you are the best player out there, you can become the best player out there.
Yeah. You mentioned belief a lot. Yeah, how did you foster that belief? There's something you do that you write down anything? Do you give yourself affirmations? Like, how do you foster that belief?
Yeah, a lot of it's affirmations, but a lot of it's like, you know, silent, like in my own brain. Right. So I'm not a big like pencil on paper kind of girl, but a lot of it's like in my own brain, and a lot of it is, I would say, like figuring things out like on my own. Once like you realize, hey, what did I do wrong? It's so much easier to fix it on your own, instead of like turning to a coach and saying, hey, what did I do wrong? When you recognize what you did wrong by yourself, then it makes it so much easier.
Right. When something happens and you have a bad mistake, what are you telling yourself in your brain at that time?
If I make a mistake, I laugh it off. I don't laugh it off, but I smile it off, and because I know that I can trust in myself to do something different. Because when you do something for however many times, then you know that you have a muscle memory to do it. So if I make like a random mistake, I just tell myself, like, you got it. You know what you're doing. You know what to do wrong. Right. I tell my setter, hey, give me the ball back. Yeah, Set me again. Nice. Set me again, because I know what I just did, so I'm going to fix it, and I'm going to make it better.
Right. That's good. How do you do that in a big game? So you've played in world championships, other big games. How do you deal with pressure, and how do you deal with pressure in that moment?
For me, I take the pressure and I use it as a challenge. Like, I look at everyone in the stands. Well, I don't look during the game, but I think about everyone there watching me, and I think about maybe some stigma or things that maybe have been surrounding my name in the past. And I think I want to prove to everyone why that exists or why people say that stuff. And I take pressure as a challenge.
That is a good point about the expectation. Like, how do you deal with the expectation of being the Gatorade National Player of the Year, #1 ranked in the state? Like, how do you deal with that expectation?
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, going into the fall, I think it's going to be a lot, you know, just coming after the spring and everything that has been going on. But again, I'm just going to take it as a challenge, and I'm going to take it as a time to really step up and say, hey, these people believed in me to give me this award. Now I'm going to prove it. Right. Like, these people trusted me that, hey, you are the Gatorade National Player of the Year. And so now I'm going to prove it and hopefully make my mark this next fall.
You definitely will. How do you maintain the discipline to train extra hours all the time? Like, how do you maintain that discipline?
A lot of the discipline just comes with passion. Like, a lot of the times I just wake up in the morning and like, I want to play volleyball or I want to go lift, I want to go in the gym. And it makes it so easy just to like wake up in the morning and be like, I love my sport. When it gets to be a job, it's really hard to find that passion. But I feel so fortunate that I can wake up and I can want to do those extra reps, and I have girls surrounding me that also want to do those extra reps. We have just like a team that surrounds each other of competitiveness and fire and passion and want to be there. And just Texas has like really brought that out in me and brought that out in everyone there, and the coaching staff has really brought that out in us. And passion just really helps me like take my game to the next level.
Love volleyball, that's good, but you don't want to be around it all the time. So what do you like to do to relax and take your mind off volleyball?
Oh my gosh. So when I'm not playing volleyball, I love to like bake, and I know my mom and my stepdad are going to say that I don't bake enough because they love sweets. But I love to like cook and bake. I think I'm always like looking at like videos online to like see like what I can make next. But I've recently found a love to travel. So when my family and I travel, like it makes me so happy, and I love seeing new places and everything. And hanging out with friends is like a huge part, because like when I'm not in the gym, in the short time that I do have open, I try and find times to be social, get myself out, and because college, it's really easy to like lose yourself. Everyone's kind of focused on their own thing. It's really easy for people maybe just to miss you here and there. So a lot of it is like reaching out and being like, hey, let's go do something. So it's like, I'm also fortunate to be surrounded by a really good group of friends, and I just love hanging out with them. So.
And you can talk about the support your family has for you your whole career. How has that been?
Oh my gosh, my family has brought out like a different fire in me that I never would have been able to brought out by myself. And sometimes I do get lost in, I would say, outside world concerns. And they put me back on track. They're like, hey, remember what you're here for. Remember what you're trying to do. And they are at every single one of my games. They sometimes even practices. They're at every single one of my practices that can be. They support me in everything that they do. They could try and be there as much as possible, and just seeing them like out in the stands is like the best feeling ever. So I'm so lucky to be surrounded by them.
You mentioned earlier about having the belief in the goal. To be honest, did you have the goal to be Gatorade National Player of the Year or be #1 in the state? Was that a goal that you wrote down or thought in your head?
It was never a goal that I wrote down. It was always in the back of my head. It was like, hey, if I can do this, I'm going for it. So I remember when Gatorade State Players of the Year came out, I was like, can I go for national? Like, it was all a surprise. And like everything, I'm always searching for something better. I always like to live in the present, which is like something that I will advise everyone to do. Just live in the present. But when you are trying to search for a goal that you really want to reach, I would say, reach as far as you can. Reach for the stars, reach for the moon, reach for whatever. And, winning Gatorade National Player of the Year was definitely one of those where I was like, maybe I can. Like, maybe I can get it.
You sound like you have a great mindset, but if you had to pick one, what's a mental weakness that maybe you've had to overcome, or maybe something you're still dealing with now in your career?
Yeah, I would say confidence. I struggled with a lot. I think I had some setbacks with some coaches and some teammates that really had put me back. And, it made me question myself. Like, am I not a good player? What am I here for? What am I doing? Like, am I doing something wrong? And it really had a really negative effect on my confidence. But I had people surrounding me that were like, no, don't listen to them. And just people like that, just bringing me up and lifting me up. Confidence is the hugest roadblock for a player, because if you're in like a tight situation, you're not going to want the ball. You're not going to believe in yourself that I can't get this next point. I can't win the game for us. And when you think that, then you're not going to win the game for people. You have to believe it to actually see it happen.
Let's say some of the players might not have that great support system. What's some advice you could give them to build the confidence within themselves?
I would say a lot of it is find the good. Find the good in yourself, no matter how big or small a goal or an accomplishment is that you had for yourself. Find the small successes, because those small successes will turn into big successes. Like, hey, I reached this today. I woke up early and I worked out in the morning. Like, little things like that, like, just shows how much you're getting better, how much you love the game, and it's gonna turn out for you in the future. And like, you find the small successes in your life, and those just turn into so much bigger successes.
That's good. So you gave them some great insights so far. So now we can get into the final 5. These are the final 5 questions I'd like to ask every athlete. So the first question is, what's a misconception about being a D1 athlete?
I would say a misconception is that like, it's like torture, and that like, it's like being a D1 athlete is like, that's your entire life. I would say that's a misconception because my coach does a great job of like saying like, you guys are people too. You guys need to have balance in your life because if you don't have balance, then you're gonna end up hating the sport. It's like you're here because you want to be here. So on the weekends, my coach has like found time for like us players to like go out and do things that we love in Austin and like explore the city and be with friends. And you know, you're working your butt off during the week or even on Saturdays and stuff. But like having that time to like unwind is, I don't think people realize that there is time to unwind and there is time to like have like a mental reset.
And second is, what's the worst experience of your career that you can now look back at as a funny story? So maybe the worst workout, the worst environment you've played in.
Oh my gosh. So we were in high school. We were in this heated game. It was against Wakeland, which is so funny.
Wow. Yeah.
The score was like 31-33. And I go back to serve. And I serve it under the net. Not even, like it didn't hit the net. It didn't hit the pole. It literally went under the net. And the game was like this. Like it was like in the 30s. And I served under the net. I did not step up to the challenge there.
And you lost the game, or what happened?
I didn't lose we ended up losing the game.
Yeah.
So it was a couple points before the end of the set.
So everybody fails, even though Gatorade National Player of the Year.
I failed really hard in that moment, yes.
All right. Now, what's the best memory of your career now?
My best memory would probably be making the roster of the U19 national team because looking back on it, like after getting cut the year prior and then like fast forward, like, hey, like you did what you needed to do to make it the next year was the most rewarding feeling that anyone could ever get. And like that was just so rewarding knowing that like that I was on the right path.
What's some advice you can give to some high school athletes or some younger athletes that want to be in your position? They want to make it D1 or make it to UT. What's some advice you can give them?
I would say go for it. Like, go for it. Like, there are so many girls that used to say, like, oh, I didn't think I could get here, but now I'm here. And it's because they went for it and they found something that they were really good at and they made that their specialty and a team was like, I want that. Those girls really found something like, I want that girl because she's really good at this. You know, find your specialty, find your passion for the game, find like good teamwork or a killer serve or really good location setting or like something like that makes you stand out because coaches look at that and they're like, that's going to bring so much more to my team.
And last question, how do you define the word winner?
When you reached whatever goal you had in your mind. And even if you didn't reach it, just knowing that you made like the effort and the steps to get there, or maybe that you're on track to reach that goal, I would say you're a winner. Because I had many losses in my life. I went for many shots that I didn't get. I didn't score. I hit out. I hit into the net. I hit in the block, you know, on game point, match point, set point. And maybe we didn't win the game, but I had learned so much more about myself in the moment to where then it translated into, hey, I won this game for my team in the future. I won that game for myself. I won that match. Like I had the opportunity to get it and I won. And even if you're not on track, setting those little goals for yourself helps you learn to be a bigger winner in the end. The small victories are really what matters.